Hello there, Aquarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the week of March the 14th through the 20th. I want to thank you also for your patience with me. Excuse me. For your patience with me as I had a couple of weeks off to move, and I appreciate y'all just hanging in there. For those of you who actually helped make this move possible, thank you, thank you, thank you once again for that. You guys are amazing. I do have the best clients in the whole wide world. We are going to look at your week ahead, and we are looking at one card per day just to get a general idea of themes. This is a collective reading, and so this is going to be pretty general because it is the collective. If you want to have something where we can dive deeper into your energy, then I would recommend a private reading for that. But if you don't need that, this will be just fine. So anyway, you guys can see my website right there above my head. If you want to find out more about private readings, all of that information is there. My contact information is there. If you want to reach out to me and ask any questions, all of that is right there. Let's jump into your cards. All right, so looking at Saturday, because I like to look at the weekends, we're going to start off with the Ace of Foes in reverse. And Sunday, we have, following that, the Five of Arrows coming up right side up. So we're going to take a peek at this whole weekend theme here. With the Ace of Foes in reverse, this is telling me that you are having an understanding that there's something that you need to accomplish or you need to work on at least that maybe is a little bit tedious. It doesn't really call for a whole lot of creativity. It's just something that just kind of needs to be done. And it's one of those things where you just kind of have to tell yourself, okay, let's kind of get it over with. It's not terrible. It's just boring. So that's what we see on Saturday. And then on Sunday with that Five of Arrows showing up, that just means there's some kind of conflict, maybe even argument or debate going on. And a lot of times these conflicts can be internal. Sometimes they're external as well, like there could be a conflict with a friend or a neighbor or something like that, or a family member. But I'm feeling like for most of you Aquarians, this is an internal conflict where you're going back and forth within yourself about something you're trying to make a decision on. And so those internal conflicts are usually, my head is saying one thing, my heart is saying another. I know what I should do, but my emotions are not on board with that type of conflict. And so when we've got that type of conflict, if what you're dealing with is an internal conflict, then the best thing you can do is just give yourself some time to sit with the situation and see what answer sort of floats to the surfaces as being the one that really feels good. Of course, if it's an external conflict, then that's going to be a different set of advice. But like I said, I feel like for probably 90% of you, this feels more like an internal conflict happening on Sunday. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. You may be debating, do you want to wear your blue shoes or your black shoes? Or are we into the time where now we're wearing our pastel colored shoes? I don't know. I am not the fashionista. Those of you who've been watching me for a while know that. And I don't even try to pretend to be something that I'm not. Those of you that have been watching me a while know that too. All right, let's look at weekdays. Enough about me, right? So we're going to run through these cards real quick, and then we're going to talk about their meanings. Monday, you have the Stag. And by the way, I'm using the Wildwood Tarot for those of you who are curious. Tuesday, we have the Ancestor. What a great card. Wednesday, we have the Ten of Stones. And then Thursday, we have the Queen of Vessels turned on her head. Loopity-doo-doo-doo-doo. And Friday, Four of Arrows. Okay, so let's talk about some of these cards. Monday with the Stag. Let's see, is this Aquarius or is this somebody else? This is Aquarius. Okay, so Monday, you're finding yourself in some kind of leadership position, whether it's official or whether it's one that you just step into in some kind of non-official basis. So this could be something where you're leading people in your personal life or in your friend group, or it could be something at work where you're doing something official, but there's a leadership energy around this card. And this is really fantastic leadership energy that you can be proud of. So as you're leading, what we're seeing here is that you're holding full integrity. You are not playing favorites or being corrupt about anything that you're doing here. And also, you have high expectations from people, but you also have high expectations from yourself as a leader. So I think you're leading with integrity on Monday in some situation, whether it's official leadership or whether it's just something that you just kind of naturally stepped into in your more personal life. Tuesday. Another heavy hitting card. We have the Ancestor. So you're making some kind of decision about something on Tuesday, and this decision is one that you're not going to be able to turn back from easily. So you want to make sure that you're really, looking at what would be the cost of moving forward with this and make sure you're comfortable with that cost before you move forward. This is what the Ancestor says. Now, in another deck, this would talk about long-term contract or commitment. The way that things are worded around this deck, this talks about making this decision that, life does not go back to the way it used to be. This is not a decision to be taken lightly. So could it still be long-term contract or commitment? Yes. But in this deck, it really calls you to be cognizant and aware of, for me to have this contract or commitment, what am I giving up in order to be a participant in that and to make sure that you're okay with it? That's what this card really does. That's what it stresses in this deck. Now let's look at Wednesday. By the way, just saying count the cost, look at what you're giving up is not saying don't do it. It's just saying count the cost. All right. So I don't want you guys to put words in my mouth that I'm not actually saying. I know some of y'all do that to me sometimes. Just trying to be clear. All right. So Wednesday. Ten of Stones showing up here. This just talks about the idea of stability and security, especially when it comes to family. You can kind of see that's a kind of, I don't know if that's like a desert house or where you would see a house like that, but it's basically depicting a house with a tree coming out of it. So it can have to do with the family and stability and security for the family. So there's something going on where you're finding yourself in a pretty stable or secure position in general, or when it comes to the family, or when it comes to resources. I'm feeling like that's resources for you guys, feeling pretty stable on your resources on Wednesday. Let's look at Thursday. Okay, so Thursday we have the Queen of Vessels in reverse. This is the Salmon. Now, in this deck, my Queen of Vessels in reverse just says that we've got somebody here who normally is someone who gives as long as the day is long. And now what we're seeing is this person is standing up for themselves. And I feel like this is you. There may be a situation where you feel like you were giving too much for too long, and now you're standing up for yourself. You're creating a boundary maybe, but you're definitely, you're finding your backbone enough to stand up to somebody and say, you know what, this is as much as I'm willing to give. Anything past this, you better find somebody else. Or maybe it's this that you're willing to give. I don't know. Where's my camera? I don't know how much you're willing to give, but you're finding your backbone and you're putting down that marker and you're saying, this is it. After this, it has to be somebody else. I can only do so much. I am not Wonder Woman or Superman. I have to provide for my life as well. All right, let's look at Friday. Friday Aquarius. Four of Arrows talks about rest, talks about rejuvenation, also talks about reconsideration. There's something that you're taking a break from. Probably not a break that you planned, but still taking a break from something. And you are considering or reconsidering something as you're taking a break. And so whenever you went into this break, whether it was like, you had to miss work because of, I don't know, something with your car, or you weren't feeling good or whatever. And it doesn't even have to be a break from work, but just as an example to give you an idea of the energy. As you're taking this break, you're not doing everything that you would normally do during this time frame because you're taking a break. And as you're doing that, that's giving you more time to think about things that you normally don't have the chance to focus on and to understand them in a way that you did not before. So, what comes out of this whenever you take this break on Friday is that you understand how things are working around you now, and you have a more updated version of understanding of those things. Maybe time has changed some things around you and you haven't really acknowledged them yet. Now we see you really acknowledging what's going on around you and having that updated perspective on things that's more accurate and more usable. All right. So that's what we have for the week, Aquarius. Thank you guys so much for being here. Those of you who would like to get a mentoring session with me or a reading or a Reiki session, then I will see you guys sometime this week. Everybody else, I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.